Good afternoon and welcome. In case you've just tuned in, there's been a landmark judgment as far as the Ayodhya dispute is concerned. A dispute which is more than a century old. Finally, there appears to be a resolution. Some members have said it's a great decision. Others have said that they may actually challenge it once again in court. But one way or the other, the message of the Supreme Court has been one that they say endorses the Constitution and the fact that both communities, that Hindus and Muslims, have interests which need to be protected, and that all communities need to live with each other. Let's go to the first point. So that we can go through some of the key points which have actually taken place. Well, 2.77 acres is the disputed area. It's been awarded in favor of the deity Ram Lalla. That's the key point. The disputed area has been acquired or will ultimately be used to construct a temple. The government, before that takes place, is going to set up a trust that has to be set up within a period of 3 months, which eventually will pave the way for the creation or the construction of a new Ram temple. Therefore, 2.77 acres of the disputed area is to be transferred to this trust. Those who are included in the trust have also been named in the order. Now, that's what the Muslim community loses, but what do they gain? They gain an alternative site of 5 acres in Ayodhya, which presumably would be used to build a new masjid. So balancing the interests of both communities is something which the order speaks about, and they base the order to a large extent on evidence. The court says that the decision is based on evidence. There is a great deal of mention on the role of the Archaeological Survey of India and what the ASI studies actually found, and there was clear evidence of the existence of a temple underneath the masjid structure. However, the court did say that the demolition itself of the masjid on the 6th of December 1992 was a violation of the law. And they did speak about how that was something which couldn't be accepted at all. Decades back, the placement of idols at the masjid was also said to be illegal. Now, the key point over here which makes this difficult in terms of a potential review is and in terms of different views, is that it's a unanimous verdict of a 5-judge bench led by the Chief Justice of India. This I think is very important to reiterate, that it's not a 3-2 split or any other split. It's very much a 5-judge bench led by the Chief Justice of India. There has not been a dissenting voice among these judges. They are the senior most judges in the country. Justice Gogoi retires in a few days. Justice Babri replaces him as the new Chief Justice of India, and there are 3 other very experienced judges who have actually decided on this. Let's move to the next set of graphics, which we can then look at to try and explain what has taken place. Now, these are important parts which I want to read out to you. On a balance of probabilities, the evidence in respect of the possessory claim of the Hindu community to change the page to the composite whole of the disputed property stands on a better footing than the evidence adduced by the Muslims. So evidence based, and therefore the court saying that the evidence presented by the Hindu community and their representatives in court was more substantive. Significantly, the 3-way bifurcation by the High Court, they're talking about the Allahabad High Court, which was challenged on several counts and brought to the Supreme Court. The 3-way bifurcation by the High Court was legally unsustainable. The High Court solution, the Supreme Court says, is not feasible. Dividing the land will not subserve the interest of either of the parties or secure a lasting sense of peace and tranquility. So the hope now is that there will be a sense of peace and tranquility based on what has been decided now. There was an important part of the verdict says no abandonment of the mosque by the Muslims. So this is an important point which has actually been said, that an argument has been raised about how or whether the Babri Masjid itself could be looked at or accepted as a structure where prayers were held consistently. They have said, as the Supreme Court, it has consistently been a place of prayer. Muslims have been wrongly deprived of a mosque which had been constructed well over 400 years ago. So in other words, criticizing the actual demolition of the mosque. Muslims dispossessed upon the desecration of the mosque on the 22nd and the 23rd of December 1949. So that happened earlier on. That was ultimately destroyed on the 6th of December 1992. The desecration of the mosque and the demolition of the mosque, the Masjid, unacceptable as far as the court is concerned, which referred to the demolition as a calculated act of destroying a place of public worship. So those are very important and things that we will reflect on this program. I'm joined by my colleague Sukirti Dwivedi at this stage. She's been reporting from the BJP headquarters. Sukirti, what sort of reactions have there been so far? How has the reaction of the Prime Minister been so important in appealing for peace?
Well, yes, Vishnu, definitely. When we see from the BJP, whether it is Mr. Narendra Modi's tweets that have come out, or the Home Minister, Mr. Amit Shah's tweets, or the other leaders, Nitin Gadkari or Mr. Rajnath Singh, all of these have been tweeting, even the Law Minister of India, Mr. Ravi Shankar Prasad, and all of their tweets reiterating the same message that all of the people need to welcome this judgment. Finally, this has come to an end where all of the people, whether irrespective of which community they belong to, all of the people should be welcoming this judgment, and there has to be a spirit of brotherhood with which it needs to be welcomed. And even the other organizations, if we look at them, whether it's the RSS, which is the ideological point for BJP, even the RSS head, Mr. Mohan Bhagwat, addressed a press conference, and when he was asked about several issues, he said, संघ में हम आंदोलन नहीं करते हैं, हम मनुष्य विकास पर ध्यान देते हैं. So he was saying that we are not in a mode of protest at this point of time. We want to focus on human development, and now the only thing that the RSS is concerned about is the construction of the temple. It is not asking for any more demands or protesting about other issues or where the land will be given for the construction of the mosque. They said that all of us need to come together at this point of time, something that has also been echoed by the VHP president, Mr. Alok Kumar. So if you look at the Hindu organizations as well, even their chiefs have been speaking out, saying that everybody needs to welcome this judgment and thank the judges at this point of time. And definitely all the BJP leaders also saying that this is a time to welcome the move that has been made by the Supreme Court.
All right, let's go across to NDTV's Sunil Prabhu. Sunil, you was inside the court and was there for the historic verdict. How was this? How is this being seen, and how is this projected by the court itself as very much a balancing act, something which balanced the constitution with what the two communities, the Hindu community and the Muslim community, have demanded?
Well, I think, Vishnu, the main point, I think, is the fact that they, for the first time in a title suit, they have invoked Article 142 of the Constitution to try and settle this issue. And that's extremely important. It's a new precedent. It's in that backdrop that using Article 142, they have tried to adjudicate this matter, giving, of course, as they say, land to the deity itself, forming a trust. Within 3 months, the government will have to come up with a scheme which will also look into the construction and giving an alternate and a prominent site for the Muslims to build a mosque of 5 acres. So it's in that backdrop that this is quite different. You heard it was a unanimous judgment. Some of them making a case very categorically about the fact that not only is it a time for healing, but as I said, invoking 142 of the Constitution, a power of the Supreme Court to intervene and try to find a settlement, and most importantly, trying to say that and argue that even though there was a structure below the disputed site, the fact that whether it was a Hindu or a Islamic structure is not known. They are quite clear that it's not an Islamic structure, but they are not able to decide what exactly it is. And then, of course, making it clear that the birthplace does not have a right, the deity has a right, and of course then not agreeing with the Nirmala Akara for its what they call being a Shaivite, or for that matter allowing their suit and saying it's not maintainable.
Okay.
So in that backdrop, they're trying to find a balancing act, but definitely a lot of questions will have to be seen in terms of perspective. The Nirmala Kara, who I spoke to, were not happy with the judgment, but they said they will look into it. They want to know what is the meaning of adequate representation for them in the trust.
Okay, Sunil,
because
just
they
one
believe,
moment.
That the God can only be represented by a human being.
Right.
So we'll have
Just
to-
be with me, Sunil. I have something else to ask you in a few moments. But I want to go across to Ayodhya at this stage, where I'm joined by my colleague Alok Pandey. Alok has been reporting from there all day. It was relatively calm in the morning. It's still calm. People would have been watching what happened. Now that it's taken place, how is this actually being looked at? I mean, people around you, are they coming out? Are they discussing this? Or is it life as usual?
Well, I'd say it's life as usual in a way, because I know I was out there in Ayodhya and saw the streets. There are no customers in the shops today, but the shops are certainly open. That's something that the administration has ensured. These people here have braved this afternoon sun to come down here. Ma'am, आपसे शुरू करता हूँ. आपका नाम क्या है?
मेरा नाम प्रमिला राजपूत है
प्रमीला जी कहाँ यहीं से हैं, बाहर से हैं?
जी, यहीं से फैजाबाद से।
फैजाबाद से। ये बताइए कि इस वर्डिक्ट के बाद शांति बनाए रखना कितनी जरूरी है?
बहुत जरूरी है, अमन चैन से रहना ही बहुत जरूरी है, और सुप्रीम कोर्ट का स्वागत भी हमारे लिए बहुत अहम है, और इसका तहे दिल से हम स्वागत करते हैं।
ठीक है। और आप बताइए, आपका नाम क्या है?
वेदिका मेहता।
वेदिका, आप क्या करती हैं?
मैं यहाँ पे रिलायंस लाइफ इंश्योरेंस में जॉब करती हूँ। मैं वहाँ एरिया मैनेजर हूँ सर।
अच्छा, वेदिका, हाउ इम्पोर्टेंट इज इट, कितना ज़रूरी है कि अब जबकि फैसला आ गया है, तो पहली बात तो क्या मतलब आपको कोई सेंस ऑफ क्लोजर है कि इतने सालों से ये चल रहा था और अब फैसला आया है? दूसरा, क्या महत्व है कि अब आप लोग सब लोग शांति बना के रखें?
सर, सुप्रीम कोर्ट का जो भी फैसला उससे हम लोग बहुत ही खुश हैं और सब उसका स्वागत कर रहे हैं। दोनों ही पक्ष आपस में बहुत खुशी से हैं, और जो भी फैसला है उससे हम लोग बहुत खुश हैं सर।
और आगे शांति बनाए रखने का कितना महत्व है?
शांति बनाए रखना सर बहुत जरूरी है, इसलिए अमन चैन से रहना ही हम चाहते हैं। हम नहीं चाहते कहीं कोई ऐसी व्यवस्था गड़बड़ हो। हम बड़े खुश हैं इस फैसले से।
और आपके 20-25 साल फैजाबाद में ही बीते हैं?
जी, हमारी लाइफ यहीं से हम लोग का यहीं हुआ है।
आपका जन्म यहीं हुआ है, तो जन्म से आज तक तो कितने पड़ाव आ गए। अब आपको लगता है कि ये खत्म हो गया मसला, या?
हाँ, फिलहाल तो लगता है खत्म हो गया, क्योंकि सुप्रीम कोर्ट का फैसला सबसे उच्च है हमारे लिए। हम चाहते हैं कि अब अमन चैन रहे और आगे भी इसी तरह का चलता रहे।
तुम्हारा नाम क्या है भाई? तुम कूद ही रहे हो मेरे पर, तो बता दो, नाम बताओ।
बोलो। वानी राजपूत।
वानी राजपूत।
वानी राजपूत, व्हाट आर यू ईटिंग?
बिस्किट। बोलो बिस्किट।
Anyway, Vani Rajput doesn't want to share a biscuit with us, but these people certainly want to share a message of peace. And that's been good to see that everyone who we speak to in Ayodhya has been talking about the need to maintain peace and tranquility, something that the government and all like-minded citizens have also appealed for.
All right. Thanks very much for joining us. I want to go back to Sunil Prabhu if I can. Is Sunil still there? All right. I just want to go back to Sunil Prabhu for one moment. Sunil, in the life of a journalist, there come a handful of opportunities of being witness to history actually been created. Can you tell us, Sunil, what exactly the experience was when you went into court? What exactly took place? All right, I'm sorry, we've lost that line with him. We'll come back in a few moments from now. But let me go across to my panel. Justice Mukul Mudgal joins us, as does Ajoy Bose, Deshratan Nigam, Sabha Naqvi with me in the studio, Nalini Singh. Justice Mukul Mudgal, I'm just going to read out one part of the judgment which I found important in the context of what the message that we are trying to repeat over and over. This court, as the final arbiter, must preserve the sense of balance, that the beliefs of one citizen do not interfere with or dominate the freedoms and beliefs of another. At the heart of the Constitution is a commitment to equality upheld and enforced by the rule of law. Do you, sir, believe that this verdict has achieved that?
I think it has. Look at, there is a proper recompensate. Instead of 2.7 acres, the Muslim community has been given 5 acres. My only wish is that the government should grant a substantial sum of money both to the Muslim community and the Hindu community for constructing the temple and the mosque.
Justice Mudgal, do you believe that this should mark or can conceivably be marked as the beginning of the end of Mandir Masjid politics in this country, or do you believe that going forward this will remain a dominant political theme in India?
No, I don't think so. It will remain dominant anymore. No, because look, eventually the well-being of people becomes important. Faith is important, no doubt.
Yes.
But I know one community will feel a little disappointed. But this always happens when a judgment comes. One party is not happy very much, the other party is. But that's the role of a judge. He has to do that. But I must say, Article 142 has been properly exercised, and the 5 acres grant of land is a welcome step.
Okay. Okay, Saba, let me ask you this. Another quote. The lands of our countries have witnessed invasions and dissensions, yet they have assimilated into the idea of India everyone who sought their providence, whether they came as merchants, travelers, or as conquerors. The history and culture of this country have been home to guests for truth through the material, the political, and the spiritual. These are beautiful words.
In the judgment, right?
Yeah, I'm quoting page 6 of the judgment.
Okay.
This court is called upon to fulfill its adjudicatory function, where it is claimed that two guests for the truth impinge on the freedoms of the other or violate the rule of law. The court referring them to both communities, Hindus and Muslims, as two guests for who search for the truth. It's a beautiful way of looking and presenting and what has been this incredible dispute. Which has affected the core of millions of people.
So it is, Vishnu, and look, let me just put it to you this way, that currently, it's hypothetically, supposing the Muslim community had won, what could they have done? I mean, I'm just asking you that question. Muslim community is in a corner. In any case, they can neither, so I understand that some people feel that a criminal act in breaking a lock led to the idols going in there, and then another criminal act of breaking down a 450-year-old mosque. There were two criminal acts. Now we will have a temple at the end of it. But I would say, accept the verdict, try and put closure behind all that history of pain, because it is from the Ayodhya movement that the complete marginalization of Muslims begins. And I know there are going to be members of the Muslim Personal Law Board and who are considering looking into this, but they were going to be defeated either way. I'm just saying this to you here. They were going to be defeated either way.
Do you feel that they are defeated? Do you feel defeated?
I see. Look, I do wonder about the fact that there is a criminal trial going on. I do wonder
that continues.
That continues, and I hope there will be some punishment over there, because it was a criminal act. There were people.
And that's been repeated and very strongly.
I was in Ayodhya the day before the verdict came out, which I didn't realize was going to be the day before the verdict came out. So I actually rushed back in a train at night, because every flight was full out of this thing, and I was in Ayodhya, and so I met many people. I met the chief pujari of the temple, and I met many Muslim families. I mean, people are afraid over there even now. But however, Ayodhya, actually till the Ram Janmabhoomi temple movement, it was a place of a lot of beautiful cultural fusion, including the chief priest of the temple will tell you how much time he has spent with Muslims. And I ran into this Muslim artisan who made khadaus, those sandals, wooden sandals, which are chadawa in the Hanuman Gadi temple. So Ayodhya is full of these things, and I've gone there many, many times.
Now, Vishnu, I just want to say, adding to what Sava is saying, that please correct me if I'm wrong, but when I was hearing the judgment as it was coming out, when your reporters were inside, that the proposition that Babur demolished the temple, or Babur's general demolished the temple, was rejected by the Supreme Court. That in fact the Supreme Court has not accepted that Babur demolished a temple to build the mosque, or Babur's representative. I think that might be something that we might want to look at later on in the spirit of now healing. And these are things that if they go back 500 years, it's an amazing transmission of memory down generations, that this is what happened. This is how cruel people have been in this country. That's one. The other one is I'm going to
jump in.
Yeah.
I've got page 922 Not
Wow.
bad, huh?
Very impressive. Is that how you
Very impressive reading.
The allotment of land to the Muslims is necessary because though on a balance of probabilities, the evidence, part P, in respect of the possessory claim of the Hindus to the composite whole of the disputed property stands on a better footing than the evidence adduced by the Muslims, right? So I think this is what they're referring to. That in terms of the history, in terms of the history, the evidence produced by the Muslim community was weak,
but doesn't
or
mean-
not produced.
But it doesn't mean that a temple was demolished to build the mosque. I don't think, even in the of page 922 that you read out, I don't think it was that. But on the other hand, I just want to say that Sunil mentioned something very, very important going forward. We are all wanting to get ahead. Is that the Janmsthan is not a juridical entity. The Ram Lalla is, and actually Bal Bhagwan in all our mutts, if you take Bihar, Uttar Pradesh, etc., but the Bal Bhagwan is a juridical entity, but the Janmsthan is not. So when going forward disputes arise, this is going to be very critical in this thing.
Deshrata Nigam, I'll come to you in just a half a second. Another key part, and this comes up over and over in the judgment, in deciding the title to the disputed property, the court applies the settled principles of evidence to adjudicate upon which party has established a claim. What the Archaeological Survey of India did is essentially what this verdict was based on.
No, not only that, there are others. The traveller's account, the Gazette reports, and the 1885 judgment, and apart from that, Tulsidas Dashak, where the demolition has been also there. It is all a part of record, huge record. So everything has gone down as a part of evidence. All evidence may not have been appreciated here, but you have to go back to Allahabad High Court. So this is only an appeal, the first appeal, heard by a constitution bench, which is also a rarity. And therefore, all evidence have been taken into consideration. This is a reaffirmation of the Allahabad High Court case, except that they have modified and found it illegal, the three-way division.
Yeah, that they said doesn't stand in.
So therefore, they have upheld Allahabad High Court's title finding in favor of Ram Lalla. But subsequently, as a lawyer, let me tell you that a title suit cannot be converted into a partition suit.
Right.
So that portion was a clear illegality, and they have segregated that and upheld the Allahabad High Court.
Ajay?
You see, frankly, all these technical details of the judgment are interesting, I'm sure, in itself. But I think we need to ask, where are we at the end of the judgment? And I think that is the important part of the judgment. The judgment is not so much of a judgment, but it's a resolution of a problem which has plagued, much of my journalistic career, starting from Rajiv Gandhi when he opened those locks. That is really, this thing is occupied. So I think there is a mood in the country which wants to move on from this whole business of the Babri Masjid, the Ram Mandir. So that is one aspect which I think the judgment, the Chief Justice, the entire 5-member bench was trying to address, and they've tried their best. You could knock a lot of holes in their legal sort of approach to it. You could have questioned them on how it was approached, who won, who lost. But the fact of the matter is that this is an indication we need to move on. Whether we can move on in an atmosphere today which I'm afraid is extremely polarized, quite apart from the Ram Mandir issue. The Ram Mandir issue may not any longer be a central issue in the whole polarized atmosphere in the country. We'll be happy that at least one aspect of that has been moved. Okay. But if Vishnu, this becomes a precedent of other masjids coming into the picture, questioning, their historical
I just want to go across to
antecedents.
Justice Mudgal once again. He's here with us for a short period of time. One of the most significant aspects of this, Justice Mudgal, was the demolition of the Babri Masjid itself in 1992 and what the court had to say about it. And I quote, "During the pendency of the suits, the entire structure of the mosque was brought down in a calculated act of destroying a place of public worship. The Muslims have been wrongly deprived of a mosque which had been constructed well over 450 years ago." Is this not something very, very important, that irrespective of what the archaeological survey and other records indicate, the act of destroying the mosque, the masjid, was utterly unacceptable, and therefore the process, the legal process which continues, is something one needs to look at very closely as well.
No, Vishnu, let me tell you one thing. This was a finding which has been given while the criminal court is pending. The court can't say too much, it will affect the judgment. The trial court. I want to say something. There's no doubt that the court found that yes, there was no evidence of destruction of temple. But the court also found that the structure beneath the mosque was not Islamic in character. And secondly, the court has based its judgment on two things: ASI's evidence and the faith and belief of a large number of people that Ram was born in Ayodhya. Our whole lifestyle in India, people greet other as Ram Ram. That can't be lost sight of.
Okay.
Can I ask a question
Yep.
of the judge? Can I, sir, this is journalist Sabha Naqvi here. Does this create a precedent?
Yeah.
For other, no, I would like to ask you, because I'm not an expert in the law. Does this create a precedent, let's say for Kashi, let's say for Mathura, where somebody says that something we want to dig into the ground and we will produce the evidence, because various BJP MP plus a former MP have both said they will do so, even though right now we are hearing very polite words.
Does it set a precedent?
That it can now that the Supreme Court.